All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your good old boy JR coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, it is Wednesday. It is a beautiful night today. It is week 3 prediction show time where me and my buddy Brandon, we are going to make our predictions for week 3. Brandon will be joining us in a little bit. He does have some stuff to take care of, but he will be in shortly. So, a couple things before we do move forward. That I guess everybody will find out eventually. We will be going to a new time starting next week with our sports recap shows. It's just circumstances have arisen, and we're going to have to make some changes into our shows, but we will still be bringing you, our weekly shows and everything that me and Brandon do. But everything else will kind of stay the same. Tuesdays will still be the Silver and Bro show where I recap the Raider game and the looking to forward that week's matchup. And then Wednesdays will still be the same as well, as far as making our predictions and stuff like that. But just a couple notes before a couple things before we did move forward heading into this next week. Like I mentioned, Brandon will be joining us here in a bit. So give him some time, but I will start off the show making some predictions of the games that are going to be held this week. So week 3 is upon us. We are very excited. It's I can't believe it's already here, where we have to look into everything now. We're getting a feel of what teams look like, how teams look like, what's their, I want to say their trajectory, but where there looks like they're heading to be. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's start off with the Thursday night matchup against the New York Giants going up against the San Francisco 49ers. The New York Giants coming back in a huge way to take down the Arizona Cardinals to and now be 1-1. Darren Waller being the reigning receiver for all tight ends, and San Francisco rolling along, winning a tough divisional matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. In all honesty, folks, this is the 49ers games to lose. The Giants just do not have nothing to... With Saquon Barkley out, Andrew Thomas already being ruled out, I don't see how the Giants can travel to San Francisco, try to take on this team head on. They already had struggles in the beginning, and they had struggles against Arizona, who I'm projecting to be the number 1 pick. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, and this is why, Dallas, you got embarrassed. Arizona is just tanking. I mean, any team that has a 20-plus lead should be able to hold that, but Arizona's tanking. There's no secret to it. And San Francisco is just a way better talented team than the New York Giants. Give me the San Francisco 49ers in a landslide. Heading into Sunday, the first morning game of this week, it is Tennessee taking on Cleveland. Tennessee with the one of the bigger upsets last week over the Los Angeles Chargers are now going to be traveling to Cleveland. The Browns on a short week, a very disappointing Monday Night Football matchup against the Steelers, where they ended up losing not just the game, but their star running back in Nick Chubb for the year. And it just seems like a lot has to happen now. And even with Nick Chubb being gone, they still produce, Boona Ford, the running back for Cleveland, still did his thing. Still rushed for 100 yards against a very tough Pittsburgh Steelers team. The Tennessee Titans walking away with a victory over the Los Angeles Chargers in overtime. I got Cleveland in this one. I don't think there's I think it's going to be very close than what people are going to think. But I got Cleveland in this one. I think Cleveland is going to find a way to take care of Tennessee. And plus, I just trust, even with the bad play of Deshaun Watson, I still trust him more than Ryan Tannehill. I'm sorry. Cleveland will stop. The defense will at least try to contain Derrick Henry to where they're going to make Ryan Tannehill try to throw the football and beat you with your arm, and I think they will do a better job than the Chargers did this past Sunday. And even on a short notice, they're at home. I think Cleveland is just starving for a win, and they're gonna. Um, I just think that they're gonna just win this game. I think Cleveland just has too much talent wise. Even though Tennessee does have Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, I think defensively Cleveland is just much more sound than Tennessee, and I trust. I'm going to go with my gut here. If you have a good enough defense to stop a very poor offense, then I think you're going to win majority of the time. So give me Cleveland over Tennessee. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Detroit Lions. Atlanta moving to 2-0 after beating the Green Bay Packers in a very tight contested matchup, 25-24. In Detroit, losing to the Seattle Seahawks last week. Not only did they lose to Seattle in overtime, they also lost Charles Harris for a while, and they also lost Chauncey Gardner for the time. I mean, for I think all season. I think it was a pec injury, so I want to. So he's not coming back. So this is pretty. This is going to be a pretty tough matchup. I think this is going to be a pretty good game, but I do have Detroit winning this only due to the fact that I believe even with the losses of Harris and even with the loss of Harris and Gardner, I still think Detroit's defense can maintain a Bijan Robinson. I think they're going to do everything they can to maintain Bijan Robinson. And really, that's what Atlanta has. It's just Bijan Robinson and nothing else. Kyle Pitts has been outright nothing. And Drake London is playing, I think. I don't know. I don't know if he is. It's just what it is. Yet somehow they're 2-0, so kudos to them. But I think Detroit will be. I think Detroit is going to fight back. I think they have just a bad taste in their mouth on how they lost the last game. And I don't. As long as they're not unveiling another legendary statue, because that's such a Detroit thing to do. As long as there's no like statue reveal of like Calvin Johnson or anything like that, then I think Detroit should be able to win this game. Had I known that they were going to do a statue reveal of Barry Sanders prior to our last week's episode, I probably would have taken Seattle because it's such a Detroit thing to do to honor one of your legends and you lose. That's such a Detroit thing to do. So, but hopefully, no statue unveils prior to the game. Detroit should win this one pretty close. Next up, you have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Green Bay Packers. New Orleans 2-0 after beating the Panthers on a Monday Night Football matchup where the defense really showed out. And Green Bay, Jordan Love, another good week, and where he kept the offense moving and everything like that. So he should look pretty good. And he has looked good these last 2 weeks. He has looked amazing these last 2 weeks. Good enough to, consider. I mean, I don't know, but it's promising the fact that the offense is driving. They're not turning the ball over, and I think that's all you can ask for in a situation like Green Bay this year. The Saints, again, Carr with that offense and everything like that, not one of the better performances. Again, Jamal Williams did go down, but I just think New Orleans is still going to take this one, only due to the fact that Green Bay and Jordan Love and the Packers offense haven't really faced a defense of this caliber yet. I know Jordan Love has to practice against the Green Bay Packers defense, which they're really good as well. But I don't think, they're on the same level as the New Orleans Saints, who haven't given up more than 20 points. They've kept teams either 20 points or under in the last 10 regular season games dating back to last year. And I think Jordan Love is probably going to be in for a wake-up call this week. So I got the Saints beating the Green Bay Packers. Next up, you have the Denver Broncos taking on the Miami Dolphins. So this game's pretty interesting because Denver is 0-2, Miami's 2-0. Denver lost to Washington last week. Even after a Hail Mary play, they still couldn't convert the 2-point conversion to win the game. So that was one thing. But I think what's more with this team, it's more of the fact that Sean Payton has pretty much publicly denounced Russell Wilson. He is not happy with how everything is going from telling him he has to play sharper. As coaches talk like, yes, I got to do better. But when he threw in, he's got to play sharper. And if I got to throw in a wristband in there, if I got to do this. Now, the crazy thing is Denver actually has a high percentage of offense points per minute, and they're one of the best. It's just the problem is they keep turning the ball over. They keep getting on these bad streaks of 3-and-outs that just all the work the defense did erases everything. The offense, all the bad stuff that the offense is doing is erasing everything great that the Denver defense is doing. And that's why they lost last week, and which is why they lost week 1 against the Raiders as well. And you also got to account for the fact that, the kicker missed a field goal and an extra point. That's 4 points. And there's just a lot left to be desired with Denver. Miami, being Miami, won a close game against the Chargers, won a close game against the New England Patriots, and the defense showed out, and the offense is moving. And I think this is going to be the difference. I just think the Miami offense is going to be too much, because I don't think the Denver offense is going to be able to match blow with Miami. And if they're going to get into another 3-and-out situation again, and then Miami's just going to keep coming and coming and coming, and then that's the end of that. So that's why I have Miami beating Denver this week. And should the Denver Broncos fall to 0-3, I think it's only a matter of time before Sean Payton has to realize, am I going to keep this guy? What's he worth now? Can somebody take him so we can just start? If Denver falls to 0, because look, when you're 0-2 trying to make the playoffs, it's hard. When you go 0-3, it's darn near impossible to get into the playoffs. Should Denver fall to 0-3, it's just going to be one of those situations where Sean Payton is going to have to look and think maybe it is best if we look into the future and try to see what we can win, or try to see what we can get for Russell Wilson, and then try to see what the future holds for 2024. Next up, it is a game that is going to be the most important game for these two franchises. It is the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Chargers losing a heartbreaker to the Tennessee Titans in a game that they probably shouldn't have lost, but they did. And Minnesota fumbling away a chance to upset the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, here's the thing. Kirk Cousins has been playing lights out these past 2 weeks. He has been playing lights out. On primetime, he looked amazing. Nobody can blame for why Minnesota lost. You can blame the defense. You can blame Justin Jefferson for fumbling outside of the end zone. But nobody can blame Kirk Cousins on how these last 2 weeks have been played out. For the Chargers, it's quite the opposite. You can't blame Justin Herbert. You can't blame this offense. You have to look at the man that's running the ship, and that's Brandon Staley. When you get hired as a coach, they bring you in because of a staple that you have. Your staple was to fix his defense, and it has been anything but fixed. The offense has been amazing these 2 weeks, scoring 55 points. No turnovers. Justin Herbert in his last, I think, 3 or 4 games has thrown over for 1,300 yards. But yet, the defense can't finish the job. That That's what got you the job, Brandon Staley. It was your defensive coordinator mind, apparently. But, I mean, it's easy to be a defensive coordinator when you have a young Aaron Donald, a young Leonard Floyd, a young Jalen Ramsey, who's still in his prime. It's very easy to be called a defensive coordinator when you have all those 3 on your team at the same time. It's very easy. My issue with this game is somebody's going to fall to 0-3. And are we either looking at the last year of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, or should the Chargers lose? It's not a question of if Brandon Staley is going to get fired. It's when is he going to get fired? I do have the Chargers winning this one, though. I just think if you like a game with high-scoring offense, this is probably going to be the game for you to watch, because I don't think no defense is going to do enough. But I just trust the Chargers offense because I think they have more weapons than Minnesota does. And even after the fact that they traded for Cam Akers, it's still not going to be enough. I think the Chargers just have way better offensive firepower than Minnesota. So give me the Chargers over Minnesota. Next up, we have New England taking on the New York Jets. Now, again, New England has fallen to 0-2. The Jets are 1-1. After winning their week 1 matchup, they got embarrassed by Dallas, which is not a bad thing because Dallas has, played some pretty porous teams. But when you have talent like Dallas, you're supposed to win those porous games. In New England's effect, you lose to Philadelphia on a close one. You lose to the Dolphins in a game where, it was literally inches. I think, the whole fact that, they didn't convert or they didn't think that New England converted on that pitch on the offensive line was erroneous. I thought he had enough yardage, but to each their own. And now New England is looking at a situation where they're probably going to catch the Jets, and they have to go to New York. They have to go to the Meadowlands. They have to go to MetLife and try to beat a Jets team that is trying to prove that even without Aaron Rodgers, that they could still make the playoffs. This game, I think, to me, is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a defensive matchup. This is going to be a defensive battle, only due to the fact that Bill Belichick and his defense are always ready to go. And then you have the Jets, whose defense has already been stacked. It's just whose offense will do enough to get this thing rolling. And say what you want, Mac Jones has done enough for me to be convinced that he's running this offense with a very limited talent at wide receiver and a good enough running game to where he should be in consideration to get a go-to guy next year. If anybody needs to get a go-to guy wide receiver next offseason, or hell, prior to the trade deadline, it is Mac Jones. He needs a go-to guy. And if history repeats itself, maybe he gets Devontae Adams, because that's just how it works in the NFL world, apparently. So I don't know. So it is what it is. But I think in this game, I am going to take New England, only due to the fact that I just do not see anything where the Jets, you don't want to run the ball. You fall too behind, and then you put the ball in Zach Wilson's hands, which is something we know he can't do. If Nathaniel Hackett has another bad outing against this division rival, best believe everybody who thought the Jets with Aaron Rodgers can go to the Super Bowl, if you can't make it to the playoffs with Zach Wilson, this is going to be the longest offseason for the New York Jets. This is a must-win game for New England and the Jets, and I expect this to be a defensive battle. But give me New England. I think they have enough to beat the Jets. And joining us now on Instagram Live, it is my good friend Brandon. Brandon, what's going on, man?
Sorry I'm late, man. Fucking phone was tripping. I'm there.
No. Don't even worry about it, man. So I'll stop with the New England and the New York Jets, and I just want your quick takes on each games that we've done so far. Okay. So for the Giants, San Francisco, I have taken San Francisco only due to the fact that Saquon Barkley is out and Andrew Thomas is not going to be playing as well. And we know how porous the offensive line is for the Giants. Look, people can say what they want, but they beat the Cardinals. No. See, when you're up 20-plus points and you let Daniel Jones come at you, there has to be an investigation for fucking tanking. I'm sorry. Like, that is the obvious of, we want Caleb Williams and we're willing to sacrifice. We're willing to let fucking Daniel Jones score 35 points on us. That's how bad we want Caleb Williams. So I took San Francisco. I'm assuming you got San Francisco too?
I got the team that's not going to be picking in the top 5 this season. That must be San Francisco.
Okay, there you go. Next up, we have Tennessee taking on Cleveland. I took Cleveland even after a tough loss on Monday night, and them losing Nick Chubb to that serious injury. Honestly, I still have Cleveland because I think I think Cleveland's defense showed it can compete with anybody. I think that defense under Jim Schwartz is very underrated. And I'm liking the direction where they're going, where I think they could be able to contain a Derrick Henry and force Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball and show the Chargers how not to get beat by Ryan Tannehill. So that's why I took Cleveland.
I Cleveland too because they're not the Chargers. It's just not the Chargers. That's just simple math. They have a defense. They actually have Myles Garrett. They're going to probably win.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. It's hold on one second. All right, hold on. There we go. Much better. Okay. Yeah, no, I took Cleveland as well. It's just, yeah, it's not the Chargers like you said. Next up, Atlanta taking on Detroit. Atlanta being 2-0 after beating the Packers in a very tight contested matchup. Detroit losing a heartbreaker in overtime to the Seattle Seahawks. I took Detroit as long as there's no more legendary statues to be unveiled because that, and here's the thing. The second I heard, Sunday morning when I heard, by the way, Detroit's going to do a statue unveil of Barry Sanders, I'm like, they're going to fucking lose because that is such the Detroit Lions thing to do. They're going to fucking lose. That is such the Detroit Lion way right there. Now, as long as there's like no unveiling statue of like Calvin Johnson or anything like that, I think Detroit should be able. I think, and even with the loss of Charles or James Houston and Gardner, I still think the defense should be able to contain a limited offense of Atlanta. Kyle Pitts is a non-factor. Drake London, is he alive? I don't know. Somebody send a milk carton out there of have you seen me? Haven't been seen since I was drafted in the first round of the 2023 or the 2022 NFL draft. Haven't seen them since. And no, I'm serious. Like, where is he? Like, the last time I saw him on stage in the freaking draft, and that was the last time I ever saw Drake London. I'm sorry, Falcon fans. That's the last time I saw him. Where is he?
I saw him in New Orleans. He caught a pass, then he fumbled the ball and gave us the game. So I remember him very well.
Yeah, that's the last time that's the last time I saw him, and I think I'm going to buy a milk carton ads of have you seen me lately? Because I don't know if he's still there or not. Kyle Pitts is a non-factor. It's whatever. I'm convinced the 11 people can leave Kyle Pitts open and he still wouldn't be able to do a damn thing. And it's not because Desmond Ridder can't get him the ball. It's because he doesn't know what to do with it, basically. So there's that. But I think the Detroit defense should be able to contain a very limited offense. If they stop Bijan, and that's the thing, the Packers stopped the Bijan in the first half. Once Bijan got going in the second, and the offense of the Packers was starting to get limited, you're not going to limit this Detroit offense. I'm sorry. You're just not going to limit it. I got Detroit over Atlanta.
Detroit's secondary still sucks. That is bad.
You're not going to notice this week. I guarantee you're not going to notice that they're bad this week.
Oh, that's why I'm going with Detroit. We're not going to have to worry about that this week. That's exactly why I'm going with Detroit. Because they won't have to worry about secondary nothing in this game. It's just like Bijan Robinson, Tyler Alliger. After we stop those dudes, we're pretty much setting something. And plus, Atlanta defense cannot stop Detroit. They could barely stop Jordan Love and some backups. They will not be able to stop Detroit. It just isn't going to happen.
No way. It's not going to happen. Next up, we have New Orleans taking on Green Bay. I took New Orleans because, as impressive as Jordan Love has played the last 2 weeks, he hasn't seen a defense of this caliber, a defense where they have given up no more than 20 points in their last 10 regular season games. And that is a credit to Dennis Allen, who I've always given high praise for because I think he's one of the better defensive-minded coaches in the NFL. And, yeah, I don't think Jordan Love is ready. He's going to get a taste. He's going to come back to reality, and he's going to be like, okay, so this is what it's like to really play a tough NFL defense. That's why I'm going Saints. The offense just has to be tamed. Like, they just have to be in control. As long as the defense did what they did to Carolina on Monday night, you're good. You're good, bro. That's why I have New Orleans.
Little worried about this offensive line going up against Detroit. Green Bay's pass rush is a little shaky. Last 2 games, Derek Carr's been pressured a little bit too damn much for my liking. But we got better weapons than Green Bay. Jamal Williams is hurt. That's a little shaky for me. I don't know if they're going to have Kendrick Miller. He hasn't even touched the field yet, but and dealing with that injury. But this is literally the last game before Alvin Kamara comes back. In NFL, the NFL, fuck you for suspending Marcus May, knowing damn well you could have did it way way earlier in the season.
I didn't get that. I didn't really understand that one. I was just kind of like, what are you, what?
It's literally the NFL being like, okay, the Saints a little bit too good. We need to pump the brakes on this shit.
Yeah, I didn't. I think that would be my only question to Roger Goodell is why, like why this?
You know this better than anybody. When the team has screwed over the NFL, they will find no other reason to flip it over, to do something to fuck you over. It's the Saints today, it's gonna be the Raiders tomorrow. They're going to find a way, and that's exactly what they just did. They made no sense.
It made no.
I have no idea. I don't know how Marcus May suspended. Knowing you have all the information in the last couple months, you could have suspended them then in preseason. Gave him the same 3 games that Alvin had, set them out for the first 3 weeks, but you waited for us to have 2 games, win those 2 games, then be like, the defense is a little bit too good, let's suspend them. That's kind of stupid.
I did not get it.
But yet Tariq Hill is running free in fucking Miami when he had the same damn situation like Alvin had.
I didn't get that either. I think that's erroneous of the suspension. I really think that, I know you could do an investigation into NFL teams, but can you do investigations into the commissioner as well for untimely suspensions? Like I didn't understand it one bit. But yeah, I still have New Orleans, and I'm assuming you have New Orleans as well.
I got us winning this game. Green Bay has no offensive line. I don't know if David Bakhtiari is going to play. I know they lost another offensive lineman sometime in the Atlanta game.
Yeah, Jenkins. Yes, they did lose him a little bit.
Aaron Jones still don't know if his hamstring is going to hold up. He might still miss a couple games with that. And you also
I think it's tough. I think that's a little tough, but yeah.
Christian Watson also hasn't played yet either, so I don't know if he's going to be able to even play. So,
and it's sad because I actually enjoyed watching him play his rookie year. Like he looked really well, and I just hope he comes back soon. Next up, we have Denver taking on Miami. You got Miami, right?
I think we need to have a conversation about this because I got Miami winning this game clearly, but I think we really haven't had a real conversation. And I kind of, yes, has Russell Wilson sucked in the second half of this season? Of course he has. But we need to really have this conversation. Sean Payton, I have seen Sean Payton as a head coach for like my entire
of course.
years.
Of course.
I've seen Sean Payton. I think we really need to have this conversation because the only time Sean Payton's had a really good defense is 2006, 2009, we won the Super Bowl in the last couple of years when he was still a head coach of the Saints. And that was Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was so good at defense. We were like, he should be the head coach.
Hey, you know me. I've been in favor of Dennis Allen getting a second chance, and I say he's got to get a second chance, and I'm glad he's doing it.
But for most of the time, when Drew Brees threw for 5,000 yards, he had 4 consecutive seasons throwing for 5,000 yards.
I want people to do the math real quick. That is 20,000 yards in 4 freak. Do you understand how long it would take for me to walk 20,000 freaking steps? Like, do you know how long it, like, do you?
In his years with the Saints, had 5,000 yard seasons. You want to know when the defense was ranked around that time period? 32nd, 31st, 30th, 29th. We never had a good defense when we had Drew Brees' offense being ranked 5th. The defense was ranked like 30th. What I'm saying is, maybe we need to start questioning if Sean Payton could actually pick a defensive coordinator. I haven't seen the Saints defense when Drew Brees was that good. We had a Saints defense. And here's the thing. We got the Saints. Denver has the same talent they've had for the last couple of years. What's the difference? On defense, what's the difference?
I think the difference is, I think what happens is the defense does well in the first half, and the team does well in the first half. The problem is the offense does so much bad with consistent 3 and outs that it erases everything the defense did in the first half. And that's the killer. That's the killer.
Here's the thing. But that is what I grew up with for Sean Payton. Those years. And the Saints will be 7-9, 8-8. That's what we usually would have. And guess what Denver's going to look like right now?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. They're going to look 0-3. After Sunday, they're going to look 0-3 because I got Miami winning, only due to the fact that I do not think the Denver Broncos can match up with the firepower offense that is called the Miami Dolphins. Look, the Miami Dolphins right now are on a high, and I'm talking a real high right now, where everything's clicking. Doesn't matter who the running back is. The receivers are on point. The tight ends are on point. The offensive line is getting better as the week goes on. And guess what? The defense is actually showing. Our biggest concern for Miami when I picked Miami was, man, if the defense does not show up, then I think they're screwed. The defense is showing up these last 2 weeks. Yes. Are they giving up too many yards and too many points? Yeah, probably. But are they pressuring the quarterback? Are they getting to the quarterback? Are they stopping the runs when they need to stop them? Yeah, 100%. And that's without Jalen Phillips. That's without a lot of these guys. The defense is doing fine. Put it like this. The defense is well enough to where they know all they have to do is just maintain middle of the pack, and the offense will take care of the rest. And we really need to start having a conversation if Mike McDaniel is really more of an offensive guru than some of these other offensive gurus in the NFL. I'm ready to have that conversation.
Listen. You know me. I'm all for controversy conversations. I'm all for it. Yes, he is. I think he's better than Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan put together. I said that shit right here. Better than Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan put together. I said that shit again.
And people will be like, well, he has Jalen Waddle. Understand what Mike McDaniel had before he made all these trades, before he did everything. People forget the offense for Miami last year was actually really good. And it just kept getting better.
But Tua got injured,
yeah.
And here's the thing. You said it was the defense that we both had that same thing. If the defense sucked, if the defense for Miami was bad, but they got a big Fangio, so it was kind of like, eventually it's going to work out. That was the one thing. But here's another thing that I kept saying. What the hell is the running game? They still don't have a real running game.
They really don't, but they just do enough to get it going.
It works for what he needs it to work for, and I think that is the problem. That's the thing about Miami. They don't have a running game. They don't have a running back that you're like.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard Cam Akers was on the trading block, I'm like, this has Miami written all. You want to talk about Cam? You want to get Cam Akers? You want to get used? You want to play these games? Miami's going to run you the fucking like Miami will use you to the core, my man.
I'll be honest. If Rashad Mostert doesn't have a 100-yard game Sunday, who says Cam Akers isn't in Miami right now?
Well, that's the thing. He just got traded to Minnesota.
If Mostert doesn't have a 100-yard game against New England Sunday, they probably do say, you know what? We probably do need another running back. And they probably will get Cam Akers.
Or there's still some other ones out there, free agent wise. Obviously not Kareem Hunt anymore because he went to Cleveland. But I think Miami. Here's the thing: if Miami gets a top level running back, like how San Francisco did last year when they traded for Christian McCaffrey, all bets are off. I think the Miami Dolphins are going to the AFC Championship game. All bets are off at that point. I think they're going to the AFC Championship game, and nobody is ready for that freaking conversation. Nobody. I'm there because I picked them to win the division. That's why. I feel you. I feel you. But if you get past Denver, hey, I'm just.
That's a little steep. I would say this. I think they're gonna be the last undefeated team.
Okay, that's fair. That's probably fair.
They're gonna be the last undefeated team. I think by week 7, they're gonna still be undefeated.
Now, next game, Chargers, Minnesota. We talked about this on Tuesday, the importance of this game, because this is either going to show where Kirk Cousins is going to play his final season with the Vikings, or should the Chargers lose, it's not a question of if Brandon Staley's going to get fired, it's when is he going to get fired. And if they lose to Minnesota, he's got to be fired on that plane ride home. Not even on the plane ride. Take the T to the airport. the owner of the Chargers should just look at him and be like, we are going back to LA. You see that Greyhound over there? You going in there because you're fired.
I literally said that last night. I was like, if I was the Chargers and I lose to Minnesota tomorrow night, if I lose to Minnesota Sunday, I am literally looking at Brandon Staley being like, you saying your ass in Minnesota.
Now, we're going home to Los Angeles. You are going to take the Greyhound back home, think about what you've done, and then pack your shit and get out of my office. That's what it is. But no, in all seriousness, this is a game where both teams, this is a must win for the Chargers and Minnesota. For Minnesota, it's to prove a point where last year was not a fluke. Because remember, it's hard to get back into the playoffs when you're 0-2. If you start 0-3, it's damn near impossible. It is damn near impossible. One of these teams is going to be 0-3 by the end of the day. By the end of Sunday, one of these teams will be 0-3. But I just think the Chargers have too much talent to let that happen. And that's why I'm picking the Chargers to beat the Minnesota Vikings.
I'll first disagree with you. I got Minnesota.
You just want to see this. You just want to see this, don't you? You just want to see this implode.
Brian Flores' defense versus Brandon Staley's defense. Come on. I got more faith in Brian Flores to get one play when he needs one stop. I expect that.
And let's not act like, and I'll give Minnesota props. Let's not act like they just got blown out by Philadelphia. Remember, Kirk Cousins played his best. The only difference was Minnesota gave up a couple first downs when they didn't have the opportunity to get the ball back, and Justin Jefferson fumbled the ball in the end zone. If you take those two out of the equations, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, they did give up like 175 yards.
Rushing.
That's another damn thing, but that's a whole other
That's a whole different deal. It's just, but the Chargers losing this game, I would look at every Charger fan and be like, I don't care how many games you win. You better start looking forward to 2024 because your season done, bro. Your season done, bro.
I need people. I need all these NFL analysts. They get paid all this money to stop saying that Minnesota is like out of the playoffs in week fucking 2. Like, do you see the NFC North? Do you see the NFC North? Detroit's secondary still sucks. Green Bay's got nothing but injuries, and we still don't know if Jordan Love is good enough to actually do anything. And Justin Fields literally calling out his coach, being like, "Hey man, they suck. I wish I had a new offense. I hope I."
Justin Fields said what we said on Tuesday. I do not have faith in this coaching staff. Help me. He literally went like, Lord, if you can help me, if you can hear me, help. Lord, if you can hear me. Listen, I hope, listen, he did come out and he said, I'm stepping away due to health and family reasons. So I hope he's okay. However, the timing of it was after when Justin Fields said this coaching staff is terrible. That's where I'm kind of like, hey man, something's up, bro. Something's up. And the owner has to make a decision. Coaching staff or Justin Fields or rebuild.
They give me extra shit to do in the game. Now I gotta overthink the goddamn play because I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to really actually run.
That's ridiculous. That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. You cannot go to your quarterback hours prior to the game and be like, hey, by the way, we're also gonna no, there's no adding. Our script is ready. Like, there's no adding. This is our script and we're rolling with this. That I don't know. It's desperation, I guess. I don't know. It's just, for me, it would be different if Minnesota was completely out of it. Like if they were like 2-7, 2-9.
If it was further in the season, yeah.
Like, say prior to trading deadline, if they're just looking like, hey, man, there's just no way we're going to be able to turn this around with their schedule and everything, then you look for a trade partner. The fact that the NFC North, like we talked about, is going to be up for grabs this year, now's not the time to panic. Now, however, in the Chargers case, if you lose this game, you have to hit the whole panic button. You're not panicking because you don't think you got your franchise quarterback. You're not panicking because you don't got your star running back. You're not panicking because you got a great offensive line. Your offense is fine. The main problem is the man that he's calling himself the captain of the team, Brandon Staley, who said that the Jaguars loss did not implicate or did not carry over into the season. Bullshit. All right, let me tell you this. You can sit at the podium and be like, if I were to go into the locker room right now and you were to ask about freaking the Jaguars loss carrying over and you're in the locker room, nah, coach, that was last year. This is this year. If you take Brandon Staley and you drive him 20 minutes away from the locker room, and like, is he gone? All right, hey, look, man, I don't know if this guy's got it or not, and we're still have that Jaguars loss carrying over us. If we lose to Minnesota, we want a new head coach pronto. Like, we need a new head coach. And guess what? The guy you brought in to be our offensive coordinator is going to get the test run to be your new head coach. You brought in the guy to replace you. If you lose this game, it's over for Brandon Staley.
Mike McCarthy, you brought in a guy to replace you, Mike McCarthy.
Exactly. Like, so this game, I am going to be on the edge of my seat watching this game because, oh my God. Now, if you don't like high scoring, if you don't like defense, then this is the game for you, Chargers, Minnesota. Now, if you love defense, the next game is for you, New England and the Jets. I have New England because here's the thing. Do I know that the Jets have better weapons than New England? 100%. Do I believe that, is the defense pretty even keel? Yeah, 100%. I'm not going to disrespect the Jets defense like that. The only thing I'm going to disrespect, it's the same story. Zach Wilson can't get it done against high competition. And I don't care if New England is 0-2. Look who they lost to. They lost to a Philadelphia Eagles team that literally all Kendrick Bourne had to do was learn how to put his other foot in. And the other one was just ran out of time. They ran out of possessions. And let's be real. I'll never say this. New England got screwed on that call. That offensive line was over the line. If that's not a first, then what is a first down? Explain. What's a catch? What's a touchdown? What's anything? What's life? What is life? Like, I don't understand. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why am I wasting my time on a Wednesday doing these predictions if you can't even tell the meaning of this? Like, this is terrible. That was terrible. But I got New England because I truly believe New England's just got the better unit. I think they got the better tightness of the group. Where as far as the Jets go, yeah, Zach, you're our guy. But then you're going to keep fucking it up. And then we're going to be asking for Tim Boyle to fucking replace you like we did Mike White. So, yeah, I got New England on this one. I'm sorry. I got New England.
Outside of this is what I've been saying. Outside of Garrett Wilson Jr., who's the other weapon? They don't have one. Zach Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers. You brought Nathaniel Hackett in because you had Aaron Rodgers. You don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. Nathaniel Hackett's about to get exposed. It's easy money. New England wins this game.
If there was anybody to turn in a letter to rescind their resignation, it should have been Nathaniel Hackett. Like, sorry, man, I can't call an office without Aaron Rodgers.
Should have been like, shit.
Yeah, that was it for me. Yeah, so it looks like me and you both have New England, correct? Yeah, I got New England too. And I know they're 0-2, and I know they're the dog and everything, but there has to be something there. And here's the thing. Mac Jones is running this offense as well as he can, and he's doing a damn fine job at it too. All right? Is it the impressive numbers that we're used to seeing with a lot of these elite quarterbacks? No. But name me another quarterback that can go in this New England offense and run it just as well as him. And I'll wait. And I'll wait.
That's not the problem. I really do now think he does need a weapon because he's not Tom fucking Brady. Tom Brady can work this shit with tight ends. He is not Tom fucking Brady.
Not a lot of people are, Brandon.
You gotta get his man a fucking receiver. You have to. A bunch of no names for Tom Brady, that's different. And Rob Gronkowski, cool. But this is not Tom fucking Brady. He is not that guy. You gotta give him at least a decent fucking receiver. And hey, we can see if it happens because there's gonna be some teams after this week saying, shit, we might need to unload somebody like Denver.
Yeah, hey, how much do you love how much do you love Jerry Jeudy? How much do you love him? Like, be real, Tampa, you're not gonna get a deal done. How much do you love Mike Evans right now? How much do you love him? There's got to be somebody out there. Next up, we have Buffalo and Washington. Buffalo, impressive bounce back win after a heartbreaking loss on Monday Night Football Week 1 against the Raiders on Sunday. Washington coming back and beating the Denver Broncos in what was probably the weirdest game of the season so far. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. Washington was down, and then all of a sudden they came up. I don't know how else to put it, bro. I mean, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say, bro? Like, it was the weirdest game. So, Brandon, who do you have this one? Do you have Buffalo or do you got Washington?
You know, it wouldn't make sense to say Buffalo, right? It'll be like, Buffalo's back. They got it. They figured it out. I'm going Washington. I have no faith in Buffalo at all. Like, none. Buffalo, you beat the Raiders. Congratulations. I guess. Fuck, I don't know. But now you're about to play a team that actually has a defense. That's going to be a problem for you because you have no offensive line. You barely have a running game. Despite what you did against the Raiders, you don't have a fucking running game.
And no, here's the funny thing. Even with the interceptions and everything, Jimmy Garoppolo was still throwing the football fine.
He was still hitting the Devontae Adams. I saw a couple plays where he hit Devontae Adams. Smooth.
So I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Your secondary, like we said, pretty suspect, bro. But, you know, it's just, it kills me because it's like, dude, no disrespect to Washington. None. No disrespect to them. The Eric Bieniemy effect is real, folks. It is real. But when you look at Buffalo, they've been there. They've had their backs up against the wall. They know what it's like to be the underdog. Well, they're going to have to continue being that underdog because that offensive line let freaking two of my linebackers, who I've never heard in my life, give up sacks galore. And now Washington, you have to go to Washington with that defensive front? Yeah, good the freaking luck. Oh, and by the way, you still haven't figured out your running game. Yes, Damian Harris and James Cook had a couple of nice runs. Other than that, that's about it, bro. And last I checked, Washington can get into the backfield pretty freaking fast. And call it an upset if you want, but it wouldn't surprise me either. That's why I'm going Washington with this one as well. I have to, man. It's just that offensive line for Buffalo. It is so shaky as hell right now, bro. It is like, it scares me. It is so shaky, man. It is so shaky. Now, next game, we have the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston, I told you you guys found your quarterback of the future. I told you. Doesn't see CJ Stroud? He good, bro. Will Anderson? Great as advertised, bro. Problem is, the rest of the team, not so bueno. Not so bueno. Dameon Pierce, you're good. The rest of you, Laremy Tunsil, when you're not hurt, you're good. Everybody else, kick rocks, homie. We got to figure this out, man. And Jacksonville, tough heartbreaker against Kansas City. They should have won that game. There was just a lot that happened that I don't know why it happened that way, especially with the Doug Peterson-led team. Very disturbing. So, Brandon, who do you got in this one? Do you have Houston or do you have Jacksonville?
I got Jacksonville because they're at home. pretty much it. I don't have faith in Jacksonville. We've been saying this. It's literally like we've been saying. Jacksonville is very freaking lucky. They're right now in Houston, and the Colts, and the Titans suck.
And that's putting it nicely, folks. That's putting it nicely.
Every division, every team has had a division that sucked. Tom Brady for 20 years, Peyton Manning for 20-some years. We've all seen it. Trevor Lawrence has got like 2-3-year window tops. Like, they got 2-3-year window tops to get everything he can get out of this. He better hurry the fuck up. Because if CJ Stroud keeps playing like he's playing, and they can get him an offensive line, hell, if they can just get help on the offensive line, they can win games. This is not that hard for Houston. And these suck.
You know what I find funny though? You know what I find funny? I find when CJ Stroud does take a hit and the announcer's like, "Oh, CJ Stroud took a hit and he's back up." Yeah. He did the same thing in Ohio State. He knows how to take a hit. He got destroyed, and yet he still kept up. He goes, "You punched like my grandma." He's probably the same dude that looks at the defensive line and he goes, "You hit like my grandmother." Like, like who taught you how to hit? Your husband? Yeah, I do too. I got Jacksonville as well. Home field advantage. But now, if Houston can win this game, it would be such a uproar to where it's like, yes, CJ, like people will finally realize that CJ Stroud is that fucking dude that I've been saying. Like, the fact is this. You put CJ Stroud. How many times have I said this? You put CJ Stroud, you put any other you put majority of quarterbacks in Jacksonville's offense, Jacksonville's going to dominate for the next 20 years. You put Trevor Lawrence anywhere else, he's going to fall on his face. And the fact that CJ Stroud is already looking like the better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence kind of should tell you something. Next up, we have Indianapolis taking on Baltimore. So I do not think Anthony Richardson is going to play in this game. I think it seems like it's Gardner Minshew all the way, even though there's still a little bit of time, but it's just that concussion protocol is always tricky. And seeing that he got the same type of injury week 1 and again in week 2, it'll be very surprising to me if he does make it to the field on Sunday. But even though if he were to play, and by the way, Anthony Richardson is off to a good start. He's off to a very good start. I can now say that I am sorry that I did not understand. I did not know your game, sir. I will give you my Shaquille O'Neal moment. Like, I'm sorry for disrespecting you, sir. I did not know your game. Okay? Like, I did not know your game like that. But, you got to understand, there was questions, man. You were a starter for 1 year. I don't know. There was questions for me. But I respect your game, and I hope you get better because listen, man, that first half between Houston and Indianapolis last week, between CJ and Anthony Richardson, that was dope, man. If he could just stay healthy, that's something. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Those are going to be fun matchups. But in this case, with Gardner Minshew going to Baltimore, even with the injuries to Baltimore, I will say this. Right now, if I were to make a prediction for the AFC Championship game, just on these first 2 weeks alone, I got Miami taking on the Baltimore Ravens in the freaking AFC Championship game. Right freaking now. Baltimore, you gave Lamar Jackson a weapon. Not just a weapon suited for him and Zay Flowers. Like, you gave him the weapon. Like, it would have been different if you gave him, like, a possession receiver. No, you know what you gave him? You gave him a weapon suited for him because he's got a tight end that's a possession receiver. He's got another receiver that's also possession. But you gave him the one receiver that I said, if you let Baltimore draft this receiver, all hell's going to break loose. And what happened? He fell to them. Why did he fall to them? Because Minnesota got greedy. That's why. Minnesota got greedy as hell. And the Chargers got greedy as hell. And what happened? Zay Flowers fell to freaking Baltimore. Unfreaking believable. Unfreaking. The one receiver I said, if he lands to Baltimore, all hell's gonna break loose. And what happened, Brandon? What happened? He fell to Baltimore, and now who's suffering? The rest of the AFC is suffering. So I got Baltimore in this case only because I don't care about the injuries. Lamar Jackson is looking like a better and improved Lamar Jackson. So say what you want. Say what you want, man.
Yeah, Zay Flowers is what Hollywood Brown was supposed to be.
Hollywood Brown is wishing he could be Zay Flowers right now.
He's exactly what Hollywood Brown was supposed to be. Fast, he can catch passes through, and great tackles. And Hollywood Brown couldn't catch a goddamn cold in the winter when he was in Baltimore. He couldn't do it. Yeah, I got Baltimore too. It's Baltimore. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Like, no, but be real. Doesn't Lamar Jackson look improved?
He looks comfortable.
Like, this is the first time where I'm seeing him and I'm like, dude, he doesn't have to do everything on his own anymore. He actually has teammates. Oh, my God.
And the crazy part is the fact that even with J.K. Dobbins being out, I still trust Baltimore more. I still trust them. They haven't had an explosive game yet where they just Madden numbers. But I don't think that's what this team is going to be. I think it's going to be...
No, you know what they look like? It's like, oh, crap, you gave Lamar Jackson everything. Like, you actually built around him properly. And guess what? You guys are reaping the freaking benefits, man. And that sucks for the rest of the AFC, I'll tell you that. It sucks for the rest of the AFC, I'll tell you that much. Because, oh, my God. Like, oh, my God, Zay Flowers. Oh, my God. Literally, Geno Smith. Oh, my God. Like, that's what I feel like whenever I see highlights of him. Like, oh, my God, he's gone. So, it is what it is. Next up, we have Carolina taking on Seattle. Carolina falling to 0-2 after that heartbreaker loss on Monday Night Football, where there was a little part of me that did want to see them recover the football just to see it one more time. Unfortunately, the onside kick, but unfortunately, that's not the way it goes. And Seattle winning a thriller in Detroit, overcoming to beat Detroit. So, Brandon, I'm assuming you got Seattle in this one too?
Yeah, especially if Bryce Young isn't playing, which sounds like he could probably.
That ankle really did get messed up. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm going Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going Seattle too. If Andy Dalton is a starter for Carolina this week, that's enough for me to. That's right, folks. Andy Dalton is the backup in Carolina. Did you know that? Did you know that? Yeah, I knew. Did you know that? I can't wait. I can't wait till some fans are gonna tune into Red Zone and they're gonna see Carolina, Seattle, and they'll be like, Andy Dalton's still in the league? Yep, he's the backup in Carolina. You like that? Red Rocket, baby. You like that? You like that? You like that? I like that. Next up, like, there's just some names that I'm looking at and I'm like, you're still in? Like, you're still here playing? Dude, how you been? Like, hey, bro, good to see you. Where have you been? I've been in the team this whole preseason. Oh, shit. Like, oh, shit. Like, it's like Ricky Bobby's dad. It's like, man, how old are you? 7? How old are you? 6, 7? I'm 13, Dad. Holy crap, I gotta lay off the drugs. Yeah, I gotta lay off the drugs. Next up, we have Chicago taking on Kansas City. Look, we just talked about it. One has a coaching staff that has more questions than answers, and one is totally missing Eric Bieniemy, but they're going to get the wins because they have Patrick Mahomes. We both have Kansas City, right?
I got Kansas City, but I'm so... my God. We really need to... I think people are going to see this week how bad Kansas City needs Eric Bieniemy.
And remind you, folks, this is a Chicago Bears defense.
I'm not saying that Kansas City's going to lose this game, but I think you're going to see struggles. And I think you're going to see them struggle to the point where people are going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with Kansas City? That is what we're trying
And then you're going to see Washington put up 30 more points, and you're going to be like, wow, what's going on in Washington? Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing, like I said, like last year, Kansas City, this is the same plays, but the receivers can't get over. I saw them against the Eagles, one of the best defenses in the Super Bowl, and they still found, with Patrick Mahomes having on one ankle, still found a way to get people open, and they can't do it now. Why?
I think I know why.
Maybe we should ask Shady McCoy, because it seems like he knows, but he doesn't, you know.
It is what it is. Oh, God, this game. Dallas, Arizona. I guarantee you this. Arizona doesn't have to worry about scoring 28 points and losing this game. Because I think Dallas is going to come out swinging right out of the gate. We both have Dallas, right?
Why is he on the NFL schedule? I understand lives. I understand you're just trying to get some teams going. Like, why are y'all doing this to Arizona? What did Arizona do to y'all? What did they do to y'all?
They cut DeAndre Hopkins for free, my guy. That's what happened. They cut DeAndre Hopkins and got nothing for him. You lose, sir. Good day. Now enjoy your tough schedule.
45 points. They're going to beat them by 45 points. They beat the Giants by 40. They're going to beat them by 45 points. I don't see this game going well. But I also feel like I can see Dallas kind of being like, we got these in a bag. And kind of come out and do Dallas shit.
This is such a Dallas. That would be such a Dallas cow. You know who would love that if Dallas loses to Arizona this week? You know who would love that? Stephen A. Smith would love that shit. Stephen A. cannot wait to get on First Take Monday morning. Can't wait. He can't wait. Oh my God, this is tough. This is tough. This is gonna be tough. But I have Dallas too. It's just, look, man, you let Daniel Jones beat you single-handedly. And here's the thing. Arizona can say what they want. We're not tanking. We're trying to be competitive. Really? You let Daniel Jones beat you all by yourself with no-name wide receivers, a tight end who, by the way, leading all tight ends in receiving for now until Travis Kelce's 100% healthy. And then you don't even have Saquon to worry about. How did you let Daniel Jones beat you, bro? That's like me about to get laid, and then I let her slip away. Like, well, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? What are you doing, Arizona? Like, I already paid for the service. She's already in the bed. And then I said, you know what? I'm not up for it. There's the door. There's the door. You're good to go. Like, what? What? Like, dude. I'm sorry, Arizona. It's just, you cannot tell me you're not tanking. Dude, you're tanking. And the quicker you admit that, the better it is for all of us.
They are aggressively tanking. I think they're going to play these games. They're going to lose. We all do this. Come on. Listen, I mean, I saw more Giants fans in that game Sunday than fucking Cardinals fans. It's ridiculous.
It's too much. It's too much. So that's the last afternoon game. Then we head to Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football is considering of two teams that have a little bit of a history between them both. You know, if you don't know, this is literally kind of what's kind of set the NFL in motion. This rivalry was really like the NFL. Like, this was, like, for the longest time, this was like why everybody tuned into the NFL in the 70s, 80s, and part of the 90s, was because of these two teams and because of the matchups and everything like that. And of course, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Of course you want this game on prime time. It should be anything else but on prime time. Yeah, it was a great game. It was a great game. And it was a very tough game for both of them. Like, holy crap. That was tough, man. In those conditions. Well, luckily this time there is going to be no blizzard because there's going to be in a dome setting. So Everything's going to be controlled. That's great. Now, here's the problem with both of these teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers have an amazing defense, but an offense that has no creativity. I've seen kindergartners do finger paintings way better than Matt Canada calling freaking plays. Did you see that Monday night matchup? Did you see that? Tell me you see more creativity in a kindergarten finger paint than Matt Canada being an offensive coordinator. And then you have the Raiders, who it's Max Crosby and 10 other dudes. That's it. That's it, bro. It is Max Crosby and 10 other dudes. So, Brandon, I hate to do this, man. I really do, because I respect both teams. Obviously, I have love one for the other, but I have major respect for the other. Somebody has to come up with the win here, and somebody's unit has to step up. Who do you got? Do you have Pittsburgh or do you have Vegas? Oh God.
I got the Raiders. I got them because they're at home.
Okay. If it was at Pittsburgh, would you have gone the other way?
I would have went Pittsburgh. I really would have went Pittsburgh. But I think because we haven't seen, the greatest part, we haven't really seen Pittsburgh's offense on the road. They've done this bad at home. They've literally looked like that at home. When the crowd is actually supposed to be rallying you, you suck.
It's not good halfway through the third quarter when they're saying fire Canada. What are you doing? Dude, there was a point where it was 4th and 1 and they try to do a late pitch or a fake pitch. He takes it and he gets stuffed 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I'm like, that's your play call? That's what you want to do?
But this is the thing. I trust Josh McDaniels a little bit more. Well, what am I saying? I trust Josh McDaniels way more than Matt Canada. They're going to get this dude Kenny Pickett killed because of the shit that they're doing. The offensive line hasn't worked. Najee Harris is going backwards, not forward. And it's just not a good game. They have too many weapons to suck on offense. They have too many weapons to suck on offense. I actually believe that Jimmy Garoppolo could at least make a play to win the game. And that right there, despite how bad Deshaun Watson looks, if he would have just made a throw, he could have won that game.
And also, let's come to fact. Yes, was the ball maybe overthrown on that last play? Yes, but when I could see his shoulder pads through the dude's glove, you have to throw a holding call. You have to. There's no excuse for that. There's none.
I think being at home
has its advantages. Yes, it does.
Being at home has an advantage. And I think this is.
But not like that, Brandon. Not like that.
I think that as much as, yes, the Steelers offense, the Steelers defense is amazing. TJ Watt, but also, they also gave up 100 yards without Nick Chubb last Monday.
I know.
Josh Jacobs and that offensive line of the Raiders can move the Pittsburgh Steelers with no Hayward in the middle of that line. That's a scarier situation than what people want to give you credit for. I think the Raiders can at least get a game, and it might come Sunday.
Here's my thing, though. The Pittsburgh defense did score 2 touchdowns.
I did say it was going to be easy.
And here's the thing. I think with the Pittsburgh Steelers, as long as Matt Canada is the offensive coordinator, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to rely heavily on that defense, and the offense is a work in progress. Which is why I've always said, if you have a good enough defense, it can going up against a somewhat of a good offense, you can control that until you meet teams like the 49ers, like the Dallas Cowboys, like the Miami Dolphins, like the Baltimore Ravens. Until then, you got the Raiders this week. And as much as I love my Raiders, I'm actually going to go Pittsburgh on this one, only due to the fact that I believe their defense is that much better than our offense today. If we were a little bit more established, then I would have swung the other way. But I'm gonna go Pittsburgh on this one because I think the defense will just do enough to help their offense just get it going just a little bit more. I didn't say it was going to be easy either, but something's got to give. Either the Pittsburgh offense is going to look great, or that Raiders defense wakes up or something. Something's going to have to give this Sunday. Something's going to have to give, and this is going to be so freaking disturbing. This is going to be so disturbing. Next up, we have again another Monday night doubleheader, week 3 thing. I don't freaking know what to call it anymore. See, it was cool when they did it week 1 and they did the first one at 4 my time and the second one started like at 7:30. Like now it's like, dude, and now we're apart, 2 different states. I can't get down with that. But let's get on with it. Brandon, we have 2 teams that are undefeated. The 2-0 Eagles taking on the 2-0 Buccaneers. The Buccaneers being 2-0 against the Vikings, and I totally forgot who they played last week. I forgot who they beat. Who did they beat?
Chicago.
Yes, they beat Chicago. Thank you. Philadelphia skating away from New England and Minnesota. So, Brandon, I ask you, how many points does Philadelphia win by?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to say 10. We give Tampa a chance.
We're going to give Tampa a shot here.
I'm going to say 10.
Because I doubt you're going Tampa Bay, right?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No. Listen, Philly's going to win this game. Let's not kid ourselves. Philly is going to win this game. Let's not kid ourselves. Here's the thing. Tampa's played Minnesota and Chicago. And they ain't the best 2 lives I've ever seen in my life. For a team playing quarterback with Baker Mayfield. Like, if that's not the easiest 2 defenses to just beat Baker Mayfield, come on. But 95-30 is Philly. And then after that, you got the Saints. Yeah, Tampa Bay's about to crash right down to earth. Like, heavy down to earth after this game. And it's on Monday Night Football, so everybody can see it. It's going to be awesome. I'm so looking forward to this game. I'm so looking. Jalen Carter is going to meet Baker Mayfield. It's going to be awesome.
By the way, can we just give Jalen Carter the Defensive Player of the Year already? Like, is that possible? Like, it's either between him and Will Anderson. I'm sorry. Either between him or Will Anderson are going to win Defensive Player of the Year. The rest of you guys, I believe in you guys, but you're not going to win this award, okay? You're not going to win this award. The second the ball snaps, no, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Yeah, no, I got Philadelphia too, and only because of the fact that, listen, although being 2-0 for Tampa Bay is amazing, and the fact of the matter is still this is going to be their first real test, and it's going to be very hard because, yes, has Philadelphia had their struggles? Of course. And now they're in talks, by the way, of getting Budda Baker. If this happens, I swear to God, I swear to God. Remember when I was joking with you guys, like, if Philadelphia gets Bijan Robinson, it would be so funny. Ho, ho, ho. Well, it went worse. They got Jalen Carter. Like, I was just being funny.
Marcus Spears. I trying to come up with words. Like, nobody said this. Nobody in the draft came up with this idea that Jalen Carter.
See, I was just being funny when I said Bijan Robinson to Philadelphia would have been so funny because it's like, oh, they're missing is a running back. Ha ha ha. They still ended up trading for DeAndre Swift, who looks healthy, which is terrible for the rest of the league. But now on top of that, it's like, oh man, they went. Here I am, like, all right, cool, Tyree Wilson, all right, somebody to play opposite of Max Crosby. Okay. We'll develop him in. And then 2 picks later, I'm like, oh shit. Like, oh shit, that happened. Because, I'm thinking again, Atlanta, do the right thing. Help your defense. Nah, Bijan Robinson. Second that happened, I went, oh, Jalen Carter fell to the Eagles. Oh, this is going to be so funny if they draft. Oh, no, they really did do it. They really pulled the trigger. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. All right. It's going to be a great day, and hopefully nobody fucks it up. I swear to God. Swear to God. And who fucked it up that day? My favorite draft Barbie. The Atlanta Falcons. Even when they do right, they still mess it up for the rest of the league. Oh, on top of that, they got Nolan Smith too. So it's like whatever. Like whatever, bro. Like whatever, man. I don't care. I don't even care anymore. Like this is stupid.
I want to know what deal Philly cut with the NFL guys. I really want to know what deal did they cut.
If I ever meet Nick Sirianni, I'm gonna be like, I want you to look at me dead in the eye. Did you sell your soul to the devil to do this? Did you sell your soul? Like, did the Undertaker come by your house and did you give him your soul to do this? And I can't say swear to God because you already sold your soul. So fuck it. Well, just tell me the truth.
Jordan Davis started it, and then Jalen Carter finished it. Kirk Cousins saw Jalen Carter and immediately fell to the ground. He didn't even think about it. He was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not even trying.
Like, that was bad. That's bad. That's bad. Jordan Davis takes up 2 people and he goes, okay, buddy, you're all clear. Thanks, man. Oh, God. And lastly, and last but not least, we have the Los Angeles. Oh, don't worry, Brandon. It's not till later. Maybe your offensive line will get better by then. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. And lastly, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, first off, let's give kudos to the Los Angeles Rams for putting up back-to-back weeks where they had amazing games and everything, and it was beautiful, all right? And it still doesn't matter. You guys still lost. But either way, it's a lot closer than what people thought. And don't ever tell me that Sean McVay does not know what a spread is. Swear to God. Swear to God. Like, imagine how many people were so upset that somebody took the points. And they're like, swear to God. Swear to God. Kick a field goal with 3 seconds. Swear to God. Swear to God. Like, that's terrible, man. But the Rams are going to travel to Cincinnati in a Super Bowl rematch from just literally a couple seasons ago. And now here's the thing. We're not so sure. The re-aggravated calf injury, Joe Burrow, don't know if he's going to play. We're still up in the air. But knowing what we know, Brandon, do you take the Rams or do you take the Cincinnati Bengals? Oh, by the way, that wide receiver, Puka, good stuff, man. Keep it up, bro. Totally for. Yep, and I bet you a lot of people are like, "Who the hell is Cooper Kupp now?"
Yeah, that is just replace Cooper Kupp. It's just how bad that was to replace him.
Yes. Is he lacking touchdowns? Yes, but he's getting those yards, bro. He's getting those yards, bro.
They don't win this game, you might need to start thinking about what the hell is wrong with that offensive line. There's too much money being spent on that offensive line for it to still suck. That's a damn shame. It sucks. It still sucks. When a man can literally play, like do a crossover in the middle of a game, and still get to your quarterback. That's the most disrespectful shit
I've ever seen in my life.
He is literally in the middle of the line. Like,
I'm so good at what I do. I'm so good at what I do.
I'm like, he's still Sergio Burrow. I'm like, what the? How much you paying for these dudes? They need like real, like what the hell's going on? That is embarrassing. That has happened, and now you get to play Aaron Damn Donald. Congratulations! Like this is literally the game where either the offensive line shows up or the Cincinnati Bengals goes to 0-3, and they need to start thinking about some shit.
A lot of shit. A lot of shit. See, here's the thing. I do want to go with the Rams here. I really do. Because why wouldn't you be confident in the Rams, right? They beat Seattle. They had a good game against the 49ers. Sure. Sure. Running back. Kind of. But let's not act like the other running back isn't doing his job. He's doing fine. He's doing just as fine. So why wouldn't I want to pick the Rams? The problem with this week, and you said it, there's nothing more vicious than a team that is desperate like the Cincinnati Bengals at 0-2 because they don't want to feel the effects of going 0-3. Because if you go 0-3, it's impossible to recover. And I'm just stating history here. I'm not saying that it can happen, but history has shown us it's Cincinnati. Listen, I've seen teams go 0-2 and they get to the playoffs. Cincinnati did it last year. 0-3, it's just damn near impossible. It makes it that much harder. Which is why I'm going to go with Cincinnati as well, because I don't think there's nothing more dangerous than a team that's their backs up against the wall and they're going to do everything they can to look sharp and not do any mistakes. That's why I got Cincinnati over the Los Angeles Rams as well. It's just, I think if this was any other week and the way how it's looked, if Cincinnati was 1-1 too, I probably would have gone with the Rams. But the problem is, I know that sounds stupid. But the problem is, nothing's more dangerous than a team that has recent playoff success like the Cincinnati Bengals, knowing that their window is only limited for a time, and they need to get this shit rolling now. I got the Rams going up against Cincinnati. So there's my game. There's my prediction. But, before we do go, we always like to do this at the end. Game of the week. So, Brandon, week 3, who do you have game of the week?
All right, my game of the week is New England and the Jets, actually. I think it's such a game that, yes, I get it. If people are going to sit and say Zach Wilson sucks, and why would you say that's the game of the week? I think there's going to be two defenses that's just going to be so goddamn, we got to win heavy. I think this is going to be the game of the week. Last year, they played so many close games last year. Hell, I mean, really, freaking last game they played, the freaking Patriots didn't win the game until punt return. So it can happen, and it's going to be hard hitting. The Patriots need to win this game. The Jets have to kind of win this game because now it's kind of like, what are the Jets? And do you trade for a quarterback? It's kind of going to become the question if you lose to New England this week. Do you trade for a quarterback? You're not going to get Kirk Cousins, but James Winston or somebody.
There's a quarterback out there.
Yeah, so,
or who says anything about trading? You can pick up somebody like a Carson Wentz. I mean, Matt Ryan, even though he says he's not retired, call it what it is.
Matt Ryan is retired. He retired right after he lost that Minnesota game. How the fuck did you lose that game? I still don't know. How did you lose that game? He literally was off. You fucking lose to Minnesota. Hey, how the fuck did that happen? You were up like 28 to what? 31 to 0 or some shit like that? Like,
I get it. That's tough. Yeah, no, I get it. That's.
I don't know what the hell he saw. You're retired, dude. Like, there is no way in hell you lost that game. There's no way in hell.
I think for me, the game of the week, it's going to be funny to say this, but it really is the Chargers in Minnesota, man. To me, it's two teams that are 0-2. If you want to know what desperation is going to look like, Tune into that game. Tune in to that game, and you're going to see what desperation looks like. One man is coaching for his life. The other man is coaching to play in the NFL next year at quarterback, and that's Kirk Cousins. And because Kirk Cousins is actually put some good tape for 31 other teams to be like, you know what? Maybe. But the chart, you're going to look at Brandon Staley and be like, oh my God, if we lose this game, I don't think I'm going to make it to LA. I don't think I can go back to LA. You're not going back to LA. We'll send your stuff to your house. You just tell me where you're going to move to, and we'll send it there. And that's just what it is. That's what it is. I think you're going to see what desperation looks like between two franchises, because one is going to have some life and one's going to fall to 0-3 and start thinking about next year, man. Just kind of start. It's going to be great. Oh, it's going to be so great. It's just going to be so fun to see the chaos on this game.
Devon says this about me, but really he wants to see panic and destruction and just people just saying, what the fuck is that? That's what he wants.
I'm like Baby Groot, man. I'm dancing away, and then behind me there's a little planet that just blew up, and I'm like, woo.
He knows somebody's going to be, some fan base is going to be screaming their fucking heads off. Fire this motherfucker.
And I'm going to be in the back going, hello, Mr. Sunshine. Hey. Juan, you can't stand there. Hi. Like, 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 yay. I'm going to be like dancing Groot, like the whole freaking Guardians of the Galaxy is trying to fight that one monster, and Groot is just dancing away. I'm just like, this is fun. This is fun. Isn't this fun? This is fun. I think it's fun. Somebody want to hand me that soda, please? This is fun. Like, this is so great. Somebody hand me that popcorn over there. Amazing. But if you want to know what Panic's going to look like in the eyes of competitors, tune into the Los Angeles Chargers versus Minnesota this Sunday. It is going to be so great. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing.
Full flash panic attacks. It's just across the board. It's just somebody's going to be very unhappy by the end of that game.
And I bet you in Minnesota and Los Angeles Charger fashion, it ends in a fucking tie. That would be, because then they have to suffer another week, and it's going to be so great. It's going to be great.
I'm not going to lie. I would not be surprised.
I would be like, oh, they have to suffer one more week. Woo!
I would not be fucking surprised. And it's like 0-0. It'd be like, what the fuck?
This is just the way we roll. This is just the way we roll. Deal with it. This is all we have. Deal with it. Okay, that's cool. It's going to be great. Week 3 is in full effect. It's going to be great. Starting tomorrow is going to be so great. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
What are you going to rate it? I'm literally going to call you like, see what you did? You made it a tie. You see what you did?
Yay. Yay. Like, yay. Panic everywhere. How do we tie against this team? Panic everywhere. Woo. Woo. That's what I'm here for. Entertainment. That's what I love about it. But that is it, folks. That is it for our weeks. Week 3 starts tomorrow. Little by little, it will be getting more and more serious. So it's going to be great. Can't believe when we talk again next week, we are going to be a quarter of the way done of the season. That's how fast football comes and goes, my friends. That's how fast it comes and goes. But until then, as always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on YouTube, Instagram Live. Brandon, always awesome talking to you, my man. You enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your weekend, and then I will see you Tuesday, my man. I will see you then. Until then, everybody take care. Have a wonderful night. Peace.